What is up, LobotomizeGang is the guy. How you guys doing? Here's a question for you. Are you looking for a solid first-person shooter that's fun, challenging, and innovative? A game that utilizes its unique setting of the Cthulhu mythos in order to take its gameplay and storytelling to the next level? Well, then I'm glad to tell you that Forgive Me Father 2 is not that game. But I'll tell you what it is though. It is pure, untapped potential. Yeah, seriously, this game has more potential than those children in your local playground. Let's take a look at Forgive Me Father. Please, forgive me. Please, I've been a good boy. No, not the belt. No. 2 is a guy stabbing, creative gun reloading, ammunition not finding, low health little bitch being slowly going insane game as you confront eldritch monster from your broken psyche while simultaneously going insane in real life as you search for hidden clocks that make maddening noises and you get destroyed up monster. Seriously, stop it with the clock shit. Developed by Bite Barrel and published by Fulcrum Publishing, the people who seem to be gobbling up all the ambitious throwback shooters in recent years. Wrath, Eon of Ruins, Graven, Hyper-Violent, Tread Templar, Diluvian Ultra, and Chains of Fury, just to name a few. The writhing tentacled mass of interesting ideas and poor execution that is Forgive Me Father 2 was recently unleashed onto early access on October 24th, 2024. The game is a boomer shooter that aims to combine visceral, heart-pumping first-person combat with resource management aspects from survival horror games. Two things that go together like AAA game companies and morality. That is to say, not at all. Inspired by the work of H.P. Lovecraft, Forgive Me Father 2 seeks to explore a disturbing Lovecraftian world through the eyes of a deranged man fully succumbed to mind-shattering madness. Never before have I felt so represented in a video game. The game was released to very positive reception, especially on Steam. But since Steam ratings are as trustworthy as vaguely serpentine-looking politicians, I figure it would be interesting to take it upon myself to put my sanity on the line and to peer into the churning abyss of madness that is Forgive Me Father 2. How did that turn out? Well, look at me. Now, for real this time, let's take a look at Forgive Me Father 2. I'm going to give some feedback and give you some reasons why this game should be on your radar, and some reasons why it should not be. As you can imagine from the premise of being a priest slowly going insane while trapped in an asylum with surprisingly hygienic bathrooms, the story of Forgive Me Father 2 is as coherent as a homeless hobo high on fentanyl. I guess the devs really nailed the incomprehensible madness that the Cthulhu mythos is known for. Come to think of it, I think they hired the same hobo to design the gameplay mechanics as well. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get into that later. From what I can gather, you play as an unnamed priest, presumably the one from the first game, driven mad by the unspeakable horrors that he had witnessed. The priest now finds himself trapped within the confines of an insane asylum. See, this guy's a lightweight. I've seen your mom naked and I'm still fine. And if you say that your mom is beautiful, then I'm going to need some photos as proof, okay? After receiving letters from an unknown person with whom you seem to be acquainted, the priest, drawn to destinations unrevealed, sets off to escape from the asylum and confront the demons of his tumultuous past. And that's about the extent of it. Well, for all I know, the entire thing could very well just be in your head, a figment of your decaying mind, broken after the horrific events from the first game, as well as your tragic past as a soldier in the Great War, which you will explore in the game. That's just a given at this point, you know? Especially when it comes to media inspired by the Cthulhu mythos, which this game is, heavily so. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the priest turned out to be Fred from Scooby-Doo and he went insane because somebody forced him to watch the entirety of the Velma series. The fact that the hub between missions is the asylum that you're in certainly doesn't do much to discredit that theory. From here, you can customize your eldritch dark tome of power with powerful, game-changing upgrades, such as take less damage, carry more ammo, deal more shotgun damage, and this is my favorite, a brighter flashlight. Wow, truly fascinating. Did you order your Tome of Power from Wish? all the insane shit that happens in the Cthulhu mythos, and the best you could come up with is reload 25% faster? Well, when I say book, I meant envelope of power. Look at it. Look at this and think about it for a second, okay? Do you see how many power-up this is? That's a lot, right? The ones above activate when you read the book. The ones below are passive effects that are always active. Now tell me, how many do you think we can equip at one time? I'll give you 4 seconds, okay? So if you guessed 8 or 10, then congratulations! You are a rational person of sound mind. You're fucking wrong, but you're still rational, something which can be said for the Gigamind dev who decided that 3 power-ups was enough to have any sort of fun. Especially when customization is emphasized in all of their marketing material. Okay, look, I have no problem with the game only having 3 power-ups if they have significant game-changing effects, or if they alter the gameplay in any way, which is not the case here. Okay, just off the top of my head, alright? I'm spitballing here, alright? How about giving you the power to turn into a tentacled monster and unleash devastating area of effect attacks, huh? How about dual wielding? How about quad wielding like in The Darkness 2, huh? Wouldn't that be cool? How about you sprout wings and fly and then attack enemies from above? You know, how about mind controlling enemies and turning them against each other? How about giving you a power that just turns the game off so I don't have to look at that shit anymore? Now, do you see what I meant when I said untapped potential? The power-ups available here are just basic stat buffs that don't make any difference in the gameplay. Face it, if you can't see it and you can't feel it, then it doesn't exist. Okay? Stop lying to yourself. The only thing your girlfriend felt last night was pity. A simple solution to this is to just let the players equip passive power-ups separately from the activated ones and increase the number to 5 or 7 at a time. That way you can have even more variety. Or, better yet, just get rid of all the boring passive stat buffs and focus on the active ones. You know, the ones that actually matter. Speaking of focus, at least it's not all bad. I believe the devs got their priorities straight, considering this is a first-person shooter, because this game has a surprisingly good variety of guns, featuring some of the most unique weapon designs I've ever seen in a video game, such as Blood Guzzler, the Verminator, the Eldritch Grabber, the Abyssal Shadow, pistol. Say what you want to say, they really nailed the outer-worldly feel of these weapons. Even though they don't deal nearly enough damage for being eldritch creations from another dimension, most of these weapons feel really good to shoot, especially the starting revolver, which I really disliked at first for being slow, but as the game progresses and other weapons slowly reveal their pathetic uselessness, I've really come to appreciate what I had. Just like I appreciate all of my patrons for making this video possible. Special shout out to Osayeris, Mawa Mangala, and PR. I appreciate you, and I'll always think of you. So the next time you feel somebody caressing your bodies at night, it could very well be me. The F3 uncensored version of this video, as well as a link to the Discord, is on the Patreon. So check it out. Back to the video. You can tell that the devs put a lot of effort into making these weapons fun and interesting. Aside from the revolver, some of my personal favorites are the mortar, which launches a massive nuke that obliterates enemies harder than a Joker 2 obliterates its fanbase. And check this out, you reload by bonking this creature on the head. We also have Nasty Lenny, which is similar to how my father shows his affection. Only I don't explode, I just pass out from the pain. Last but not least, the obelisk, which, similar to only fan models, does jack shit, but it's fun to look at. No matter how useless they are, the one thing all of the weapons in this game have in common is their fantastic reload animations. Aside from the conventional firearms, each and every single weapon has its own meticulously animated reload animation that truly showcases the full extent of the devs' creativity. These animations are fast and to the point, but they serve to make each weapon stand out from the rest. You can tell that the devs are really proud of these because they force you to reload every 5 seconds. I'm serious. These weapons carry a pathetic number of bullets, so you're gonna find yourself hitting that R harder than a guy who just got his N-word pass. Most of your semi-automatic weapons carry 6 shots at most, and the automatic ones run out of bullets in a blink of an eye. So you get to enjoy the elaborate reload animations as the 7-feet tentacled monstrosity is coming to make you his bitch. But this is assuming that you have bullets to run out of in the first place. Okay, let me ask you a question. Out of all of these weapons, which one do you think I use the most? The starting revolver, the double-barrel shotgun, the grenade launcher that defies the laws of physics, or the ultimate purple laser of destruction which lies in the rare, exotic weapon from another dimension slot? Counterproductively is the exotic weapon. See, I used it on a regular basis not because it's easy to use or that it deals particularly high damage. I use it because it's the only thing that had any fucking ammo. You have all of these amazing weapons with super fun and unique designs, but if you don't give us any ammo, then we're going to use the one with the most ammo. I understand that they are trying to go for a survival horror vibe. They want to make you feel like a helpless man struggling for survival against the unfathomable madness seeping through every nook and cranny of the decrepit city that you're navigating through. And in order to create this sense of vulnerability, the devs limited the amount of ammo and health that you pick up. But instead of turning you into a scrappy survivor who prevails because he's quick on his feet, they just turn you into a geriatric veteran with amnesia. Don't get me wrong, the lack of ammo works really well when you're moving through a location, picking off enemies one by one, facing off against, at most, 10 enemies at a time. Moments like these are when the game truly shines. The combat feels deliberate and your decisions are impactful. But when the game decides to throw you into these areas where you're forced to shoot your way through a ton of enemies, it all falls apart. Especially when you don't have any ammo to shoot them with. Your lack of health and movement speed certainly doesn't help. The same goes for the performance of the game. If I had to pick an adjective to describe the performance of this game, I say that it's similar to a kid in special ed class. That is to say, slow, mentally and physically if you pick a kid with cerebral palsy. But since the game is still in early access, the lack of optimization is to be expected. Just as expected as me telling you to subscribe if you are enjoying the video. You can watch my game reviews here, or you can check out the latest video where I went on a schizophrenic rant about villains in media. Great fun. I would like to get back to the point about health, or lack thereof. I put about 5 hours into the game on normal, and the majority of the time this is what my health bar looked like. Not taking into account my decrepit fine motor skills, my health was always low because the game is as stingy with its health pickups as a Reddit mod with its deodorant budget. Like, what does a man gotta do to get some food around here, huh? In a 10-minute long mission that felt like 30, I counted 5 health pickups in total, secrets not included. Well, it doesn't sound too bad when I put it like that, but it all falls apart when you take into account the fact that you take a lot of damage and that you barely have any ammo to fight enemies with. Enemies which the game either places far, far away, just out of range of anything you have, or worse, in confined spaces where the explosive guy can just shove his grenade down your throat instead of throwing it. I am not saying that you should make the game so easy that even IGN reviewers can finish it. Okay? How about giving us a couple more health pickups, eh? Or better yet, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. How about you give the protagonist the ability to punch through enemies' chest cavities, rip out their beating heart, and consume it raw? You know? Or just make it so that headshots restore a small amount of health. Yeah, that way players are rewarded for skillful gameplay. And you can justify it as saying that every time you kill an enemy, your mind becomes clearer. Yeah, just do something. Anything! Forgive Me Father 2 is at its best when it commits to one thing. It's either slow and methodical combat or adrenaline pumping arena shooter where you actually get some ammo to shoot enemies with. It's when the game attempts to balance between the two that it starts to slip and slide. Also, get rid of the flashlight mechanic where you have to stop everything you're doing and crank it out every 10 seconds. Most gamers already do that in real life. It's just redundant busy work that serves no purpose other than to annoy the players. This works in Amnesia the Bunker because it serves an actual gameplay purpose. When you crank this thing, it makes noise that attracts the monster. So you have to choose whether to have clear vision or have the monster breathing down your neck. Whereas you can finish the entirety of Forgive Me Father 2 without ever using the flashlight. So stopping everything and cranking it after every encounter just wastes your precious time. And you know what? The devs are clearly aware of this because they give you a Dark Tome power-up to extend the flashlight's battery, which is laughable. They have created a solution to a problem that didn't have to exist in the first place, and I'm sure as hell not gonna replace my Gaze of Death for some AAA batteries. The game sounds good. I'm not like an audio or a music snob, so I can't give you any detailed analysis on the volume mixing or anything, but from what my ears can tell me, and ignoring the voices, the game sounds good. That is if the sound of the clock isn't constantly assaulting your ears. If you ask me the biggest thing this game has going for it, I say that it masterfully captures the experience of being slowly driven insane. I know that there's a purpose to it. The ticking clock acts as a reminder of your dwindling sanity and that you inch ever closer towards your eventual demise. A ticking reminder of your mortality, as they say. Ooh, so ominous. It's like, I get it, okay? I'm slowly dying, my existence is meaningless, and there's nothing I can do to stop that from happening, alright? I get it. I understand. Father, please, not the punishment room, please. There are a minimum of 10 clocks in each level. They act as a collectible of sorts. When you destroy all the clocks in a level, you are rewarded with an enjoyable gaming experience. Aside from that, everything sounds good. Guns sounds impactful, each enemy type makes a different type of noise so that you can identify them by sound, and the music goes... in combat. It's all good. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you will have undoubtedly heard me go on and on about visual style versus graphical fidelity. A game doesn't need 4K texture or the latest ray tracing technology to look good. It needs a visual style that stands the test of time and distinguishes it from every other game out there. Do I need to see every single strand of hair in every nook and cranny of Aloy's body? No. Do I want to? Yes. I'm sure you can already tell from the footage you've been looking at, Forgive Me Father 2 hits the perfect spot between the two. The game shares many similarities with Darkest Dungeon 2, another excellent title which utilizes the Lovecraftian setting and aesthetics to the fullest. Only it doesn't run like shit. Whereas Darkest Dungeon 2 looks sleek and stylized, Forgive Me Father 2 has a more rugged quality to it. The cel shading effect combined with the texture makes everything look dark and grimy. The city is dirty and you wallow in its filth. It's all very fitting. They only had to sacrifice a ton of performance for it. Unironically fitting for a game about shooting Cthulhu in the face. Despite criticisms, I really like Forgive Me Father 2 and I want it to be good. This video wouldn't exist if I didn't. I plan to make a full-length video when this game eventually comes out of early access, where I'll dive deeper into it. But as of now, I cannot in good conscience recommend this game at full price. Until then, subscribe and stay tuned to witness my gradual descent into insanity. If you don't, I'll take a homeless woman out on a date at a fancy restaurant, then slip away when the bill comes.